Let's get started. Hey guys, Eric Anthony Leong here. I'm going to show you today the many uses of Boltaron or Kydex. Kydex is used for sheaths, knife sheaths, and I make it for, I use it for just about anything that needs thermoplastic. I work in the film industry, so there's some uses for it for making props as well. You can also custom make parts and holders. Heck, there's a lot of different things. I mean, it's a thermal form plastic. All you need to do to shape it is heat it up. And I got a pretty BA heat gun right here, but you don't even need to have such a strong heat gun to get so hot. You can use a toaster oven, small heat gun. You don't even, I mean, technically you might even be able to use a hair dryer, but the quicker they get heat in it, the faster it gets dissipated over the surface, the larger shapes you can form. And I've been using it to do stuff with my son's robotic competition. But the part I'm going to make here, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, because I ran out of the brackets to hold the landing gear inside the plane's body and the fuselage, and it makes like kind of like a cross section of a T cross section, a reinforced area here, so that when the landing gear hits, it doesn't go this way or this way. It holds it at perfectly 90 degrees wherever you glue it. But you got to have enough surface area to glue to the body of the fuselage so that it holds it. But the difficulty is, and I cut this slit here with my jeweler's tools. It was basically like a flying saucer of blades, and I buzzed a line in there. And as you can see, it's not necessarily perfect, but you know, it does the job. There is a textured side, which is a good gluey side, and a smooth side, which is a good aerodynamic side. So I do smooth side out, and as you can see, it fits in. But what happens here? Oops, we got a wobbly thing. It's gonna wobble this way. So the idea is to make another piece that clamps onto the outside of this thing and prevents it from wobbling to and fro. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to heat up this strip of scrap plastic. I actually did it before I did this video, and I flattened it out again. So it's redoable if you wanted to do that. And then I'm going to put it in a clamp and just clamp it onto there. And what's neat about clamping it, especially while it's nice and floppy, is that it will take on the shape and almost lock on. So I might not even be able to get the landing gear out. I'm going to heat it up. This is set to 650 degrees, which I don't need it that hot. This stuff will heat up. This stuff will be pliable around 250 degrees once it's all there. So what I'm doing is kind of overheating it. You can overheat it, you can melt it. It will probably become a puddle. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it nice and floppy and pliable, and I'll show you how I can handle it and the work time of it. And if you can see the heat, my hands are shaky. I'm jittery from coffee, but the heat gun will actually, and it goes, there you go, see? Just a heat gun. Watch this. While it's floppy, I'm going to turn off my thing. It sets to cool. Set this down. I got about 10-15 seconds to get it in place, and I'm able to touch it with my skin, with my bare skin, and then clamp it like so. And now it's in a T form. You see that? And so it's probably already hard. It's that fast. But I was able to heat it up. It wasn't at 650 degrees, but I was able to heat it up that fast and get it in the clamps and still be able to touch it with my bare hands. And I don't have superhuman hands. And then release it. Take some snips, which these are great. I got these at Home Depot. There's a right and a left and a middle cutter. My son's got the middle cutter because of the robotics competition, which he's going to state and competing in the state robotics VEX competition, which is awesome. I wish we had that when I was younger. So there you go. And this is now grabbing on to the metal on the inside, and I'd have to pry it off in order to get that off there. And technically you could put screws through the underside and screw it. You can bolt it on there, you can glue it. It's gluable. And like I said, there's a texture side, and you can be a little bit more refined than that. Of course, I'm jagged and everything, but this stuff is pretty lightweight anyways. So if you can imagine the possibilities of being able to work with Boltaron or Kydex, you can get it at pretty much any Tandy Leather. That's a national chain. You can get it online, get on Amazon, get sheets of it, and it's relatively cheap. And you just got to be creative on how you're going to use the different kinds of plastics and materials that we have available with our technologies today, which is, you know, it's not always balsa wood and styrofoam. There are other forms of plastics that we can use today that make our lives a lot easier. And so what I would do is just cut a groove inside my fuselage here and glue that up in place. I'm going to reinforce it as well, and I'll make some pictures of it later on and show you guys maybe in a later video. But there's my Kydex forming demo for making the part that holds the landing gear in my remote control airplane, which these wheels are kind of cool. They're a little heavy, but they're cool looking. Kind of like my BMX bike tires from the 90s. See ya!